Hello there. Now, this is a bit weird, but in a minute you're going to get the intro music and Scott from about 2.5 weeks ago with full-blown COVID. But he doesn't know he's got COVID at that point, but he is running a fever. He could fry eggs off me. And I start, babbling. So I've left that footage in because it was filmed. I thought, I don't want to take everything apart to do it again. But take what 3-week-old Scott is saying with a pinch of salt, because at the end of this one, I decided that it's complicated and there needs to be an easier way to do it. So I do follow the instructions and then it stops. And then I will show you exactly what I did instead. So you'll see me fit the fit the promenade deck and the bridge deck together as the instructions say. Now I did complete it, so I did add the boat deck as well, but it was a nightmare. So to do it, it was a case of taking it off and taking it on, taking it off and taking it on, taking it off and taking it on. And I thought I wasn't happy with the video. I just was not happy with the video, which is why I didn't upload it. I thought I can't just say to people, just keep taking off and put it back on again until you figure it out, because that is literally what you've got to do. I thought there must be an easier way, and I think I found an easier way to do it. So you'll see the instructions, and then you'll see me present you with the easier way. Thank you for your patience. Ahoy there, and welcome back to Building Boys. We now have issue 122 of Hachette's Build the Titanic. Now, I've been looking forward to and dreading this one in equal measure, because I'm looking forward to it because in this one we're going to put all three of the decks together. They're finally going to be together. However, this isn't my first rodeo, So am I expecting this to go together nice and smooth, nice and easy, nice and simple? No, I'm expecting this one to be a bit of a bugger, if I'm honest with you. And that's why I'm dreading it. I don't think it's going to be overly complicated, but I think lining it all up and getting it all snapped together is. So if you are having problems with this one, I don't know yet, I've not tried it. I might be wrong, it might be easy, but I don't think it will be. If you're having problems with this one, just stick with it. Be patient. Okay, that's what we're going to try and do. We're going to try and stick with this and be patient. But that might be the best laid plans of mice and men. What we are doing in this one, so we get the Athwell deck, and then we've got the main deck assembly. So we're starting with the main deck assembly. So it looks so straightforward. It's just like thread this wire through, screw it in place. Thread this wire through, screw it in place. Something tells me it's not going to be that simple. But that's what we're going to do. Then we're going to put some decking onto the Athwell deck, and that, I think, is about it. We've got an LED to test as well that's going to attach to the bottom of the Athwell deck, a little set of LEDs. That's it. So, fingers crossed this goes well. We will have a Titanic talk at the end of this one, and again, we'll stick with the theme of what was the immediate cultural impact of Titanic and what good came from it. Did any good come from it? And if so, what? We'll be talking about that one at the end of this one. But without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get this one done. This is what comes inside 122. We have the LED here. That's this LED strip, put that out of the way. And then we have the Athwell deck itself. So let's take a look at what this one's looking like. There we go. So as expected, we have our, and this is a different colour to the decks. That's interesting. That's interesting. It's like a beige. But that's how that one's going to go. And this piece, one would assume, goes over there. I'd be right. So it's going to stick over there. But we'll come to that later on, because what we're going to do is we're going to bring the decks up and we're going to try and put these together. So bringing up our bridge deck first, we got there. We are now going to apply this deck here. Now this wire here is going to go through this hole over here. We can see it going there. And then we're going to put this all in place. This could be easier said than done. Right, so we're going to thread the wire through. We're going to try and line this up, and then we're going to screw this in. I can show you, this is where the wire is going to go. So your wire is going to go through there. Now we need to find the holes as we line this one up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to favour this section here. So I'm going to try and get this piece in. If this piece goes in correctly there, the rest should slot in as well. So let's see if we get that done. So that was relatively painless. That's all in snug there, exactly where it needs to be. So this is how we're kind of now looking, all the way down to here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have to, annoyingly, especially with this pole here, we're going to turn this onto its side, and we're going to put in 13 AP screws to hold this in place. Let's get this turned on its side. So we've got it up on its side. We've got a lot of these to put in. So I'm just going to start putting them in. Once you've got a few in, it's kind of held, so you know you're in the right place. See, I can feel that's going in nicely. Good. It's not the easiest thing to do this. This is bloody awkward. But you have 13 of these have got to go in. So I'm just going to start putting them in. But this one seems to have been fairly simple, which I'm not allowing to lull me into a false sense of security, because something tells me the next one's going to be a bit of a bugger. But we'll see. It seems weird that this is the way around we're going, but this is what they've said to do. I don't know, this just feels odd. This doesn't feel like this is the right way. But I don't know, maybe it is. Yeah, it feels a bit unusual, this. Right, let's get these all screwed in and take a look. Okay, so that's all screwed in. So far, so good. It's just a lot of screws to go into the bottom of this one, but this is now 2 pieces become 1 piece. We've now brought up the boat deck. Now, we've got this whole mess of crap of wiring along here. So we are going to use 6 of these to hold this wiring in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get those installed, and then I'll show you exactly where we've put them. And then we're going to try and attach this piece to this piece. And I think that's where this is going to get fun. So we've got all the stickers on. You can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This way it keeps any wires plugged onto the dome or anything like that, or block any lights. All done. Now we have some wiring to do. Well, we have some wire hiding to do. So we're going to take this wire here, and it's going to go straight through the bottom. So there you go. That's that one through. I'm going to take this one here, and this is going to go through this hole here. And again, we're going to go straight down and out the bottom. Make sure you go out the bottom before you start screwing this thing in. This one here is going to go straight down through the bottom. And then the opposite's happening at this end. This one here is going to plug into there. So we have to plug this one into here. Then, once all that's done, we're going to put this together. So let me get that plugged in. See, what I've done is I've negated the bottom deck, and I've put this one in, and as you can see, it now sits perfectly flush. Screws on easy, sits in perfectly flush. If this works, I see no reason at all of why they asked us to do it the other way, because that is mental. This way you can see exactly where wires are pinching, and this goes in so easy if you do it this way, unbelievably easy. It's simple. It literally is, you put this one on, you see where the wires protrude or anything like that already bumped, you can push it all in and it all fits flush perfectly, first time. Now it's just a question of whether or not we can fit it to the prom deck. It worked, first time. You can easily get it onto the bridge deck. Why they're asking us to do it upside down, I have no idea, but that's now on and flush. So I've got no problem at all. As you can see there, it's on, flush, happy. That's so simple. Honestly, that took 5 minutes compared to the first time I did this. It took me like 2 hours of having to take it off and put it back on, take off, put it back on. Nope, it's gone on first time there. The only bump I've got is there's this corner here, and I think that's through warping because everything else is level. So I think I've got a warped deck. I'll sort that out. I'll pin that down with something. But that was so much bloody easier. So if you are having problems getting these things to sit flush, ignore what they're telling you. Seriously, attach this one to the second one first, then put it all to the prom deck at the end, and it just screws them through the bottom. And as you tighten it up, it all pulls it down exactly where it needs to go. The other way they're telling us to do it is bloody mental. So yeah, this has been a deviation from normal programming, but I didn't want to just say to you, just trial and error, trial and error, trial and error, because that's what I was going to have to say. This is the easier way to do this. I promise you, this is the much easier way to do this. It's much more effective. They're straight down. There was no problem at all in doing that. None at all. That was so much bloody easier. Why they told us to do it the other way is anyone's guess, because the other way you've got to go blind through 2 decks with a screw, and hopefully there's no wire blocking the way, because that's what's happening here. Wires are blocking what's going through. These foam pads, these stupid bloody foam pads, if you've got one of those in the wrong place, it's going to create a bump. So I'm telling you, I took the whole thing, I'd done it once, took it all apart, thinking this might be a really big mistake. wasn't, all went back on. You can see I took off as many davits as I could to avoid any damage to the davits. Do that as well. If you are not at this stage yet, don't put the davits on. There is no reason to put the davits on. Wait until the end of the build, then put the davits on. It was mental telling us to put them on first. It really was. God damn it. Anyway, there's still a bit more to do to this issue, so let's get that done. This is the next piece we're working on. Quite simply, we are going to apply the deck in over here like so. So I'm going to put a very thin layer of wood glue on here, and I'm going to apply the deck in. So let's get that sorted. Basically, we go, just going to line up the holes here. So this sits as flush as we can get it. Again, you don't have to use wood glue on your decking. Mixed results for people. So some people are having no problem at all with a decking. Some people's decking's peeling up. Now, because we are global builders and we're building this all over the world, humidity is going to play a part in this. Okay? It just is. So if you are someone that's particularly humid, you're going to have a lot more issues with curling and things like that. If you're living somewhere damp, again, you're going to have issues with this thing curling up. But what we're going to do is get it as smooth and flat as we can. I'm going to let the wood glue do its thing, and that's it. It's that simple. There is one other thing to do with this piece, and I'll show you what that is right now. We'll flip this one over, and we did get an LED with this. Let's find exactly where this is going to go. I'm really annoyed by that. By the way they told us to fit those decks. I'm really not happy with that at all. So we're going to place it this way, so it bulbs upwards, and it's going to slot in here. Can we slide down? Should be able to. There we go. So it's that one in. We're going to go right down to the end like so. Now, is it asking us to bend that up? No, it's not. It's not asking us to bend that up. It's asking us just, that's it. That's it. So that is this issue complete. There we go. That's how we're looking. Nice. Right, let's have a very brief chat. So, that's that one done. Now, I apologise for how weird this video has been. I'm not happy with it at all. I really wasn't happy with it how it first was. So I decided to take the time that I had to try and find a better way to do this. And genuinely, that was so much simpler than doing it the other way. Because I didn't want to present a video where I'm like, there's literally nothing I can film here. I can just film me screwing it in, taking it out, screwing it in, taking it out. Because that's all you're doing. I mean, the instructions are correct. You screw it in. But they don't mention that if your wires are in the incorrect place, you're going to have a problem. So I'm not surprised so many of you have had problems with this one. I'm really not, because the way they're asking us to do it is mental. It just is. So if you do it the way I just said, where you don't go bottom, middle, top, start with the top one, attach that to the middle deck, and then attach that to the bottom deck. It goes on so easy. You then just screw it into place and it all tightens together. It really is that simple. It's just not that difficult. It's if you do it that way, it's easy. It took me literally 5 minutes to do it like that. And I was angry at the fact that I'm like, why would they tell us to do it this way? Because it makes zero sense. You're having to go blind through 2 decks with a screw to try and get it in, and it makes no sense at all. So I apologise that this video is kind of schizophrenic. I mean, again, I started out with COVID, so at the start of this video, I was full-blown COVID. It wasn't good. And I was out of fever, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. So the footage that's on there, it might not make a lot of sense, but I'm sorry. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to say, right, this is how we're going to do this. Now, the nature of my channel, I like it to be for everyone. So anyone at all of any level can tune in and see how it's built stock. So I don't make modifications. I don't add outside pieces or anything like that until the actual main build is done. I also try and stick to the instructions all the way. So even when I put the decks on, like you've just seen, I'm a bit funny about adding glue to it because it hasn't said to add glue to it. And I don't want anyone thinking, wait a minute, I haven't got glue. It's completely up to you whether or not you want to use it. It just gives it that bit of extra bond. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because, again, normally I would say just follow the instructions. Even though I can see it, what I believe is an easier way, I'd still say just follow the instructions. But in this case, no, I had to say something, because I can imagine a bunch of you have got uneven decks and it's all over the place and you're pulling your hair out, because I was going to throw this out the bloody window. After the 3rd time I'd tried to put the deck on and kept getting this bump. Like, you've got to be kidding. I'd fix one wire, then I'd lose another one. Then I'm trying to have to look through the promenade to see where the wires were and poke them through. And I'm thinking, this is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. The other way, So simple. You honestly, unbelievably easy. It took me, like I said, 5 minutes. It was a case of, okay, that's on, and I could just poke the wires in, bam, done. And then same way, it just slots over. So you just pull the sides out as you lower it in, let them go, bang, locks in, wiggle everything into place, screw it in through the bottom, and it pulls it in. It's that simple. I've got that one little warped corner, but that is not because of anything else. It's because I think I've got a warped deck, which is fine. I mean, if I have to glue that down, I'll glue that down. I don't really want to, but it's just that one corner is slightly not where I want it to be. But why they would tell us to do it that way is insanity to me. It just is. So I'm sorry again that this one's been a bit weird. All the other ones will be normal, I promise you. But that was an unusual one. I thought I need to interject and do something. I can't just say to you, you'll figure it out. I couldn't. I thought I've got to at least present a solution. Now, it worked for me. I hope it works for you. If it doesn't, if you have any problems, please message me and I'll do whatever I can do to fix it. I'm sorry for the delay. Like I said, I had COVID. Then I had catch up on everything with work and whatnot. And then I've just been off for a week with the kids. So I am so sorry for the delay. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for your get well messages. And thank you for your birthday messages as well. It's very much appreciated. We'll be back very, 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 I promise you, very soon with issue 123 and 124 to finish out the month. There won't be a Titanic story on this one because I've filled it with everything else. So there will be a Titanic story on the next one, I promise you. We will be back to normal programming with issue 123. If you haven't yet, please remember to like and subscribe. In a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice, take care, and I'll see you very soon.